We're on. Um, Losing time. Tried to do this video once already, and it all went wrong when I tried to upload it, and then it disappeared. And so we're gonna do take two. Um, it's Thursday. It's the 26th of May, and it's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which means there's going to be a big chime of bells outside the window quite soon. It's quite a nice warm day. In fact, if you want to actually have a little look at what it's like outside, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but there we go. And maybe you can hear the police sirens going off as well. Um, um, it's odd living in a little town like this because the police siren seems to be going off constantly, all day, every day. It's like a constant state of emergency here. Cool. Anyway, not cool. What's the point? The point is today we're going to look at this. Working the System by Francis Gilbert. Francis Gilbert is and was a teacher in London. He worked in different schools, and this is his take on the British education system. It says how to get the very best state education for your child. That's how to get your child through the system. Basically, he goes through, explains how the system works, how the system doesn't work, and if you really want to send your child through the system, which I don't recommend, how to actually try to get it done. There's some frightening statistics and information in this book, and a lot of it comes from teachers' practical experience, which is really nice. So what we're going to look at today is parents, how parents affect education. We're going to drop in with a little quote here. Check this out. Believe nothing merely because you have been told it. Do not believe what your teacher tells you merely out of respect for your teacher. But whatsoever, after due examination and analysis, you find to be kind, conductive to the good, the benefit, the welfare of all beings, that doctrine believe and cling to, and take it as your guide. Buddha. So you see the direction that we're heading in here. It's that we really need it in essence to be our own teachers through life. In essence, what we call teachers are just students with more power, because we need to have our own experiences in order to develop an understanding of what life is and how life works. A teacher is just a guide, as they say. They can only show you the door. You really need to walk through it and have that experience for yourself. I mean, take the example of somebody going on holiday. They go away on holiday, they come back, and they tell you about their holiday. You know, you sit there listening for 30 seconds, and then you switch off because it's essentially their holiday. You can conjure pictures in your mind, but you're never fully going to have that experience. You're not going to see the same streets. You're not going to have the same physical memory that they have for going through the experience. It's not your holiday. It's their holiday. It's always going to be their holiday. And try to remember that as we go through this. So we're going to look at the attitudes now of parents towards their children's education. And to understand this next point, you have to think about what is important to parents in terms of how they're going to affect their child's development. A parent, a caring parent is going to be very, very careful. They're going to select the right books for their child. They're going to want to make sure the child watches the right films. They're going to check if it's got this PG certificate of 13 or 15, even though the films are getting more violent now. And will do from generation to generation because that's the plan. The parents choose clothes. They want their child to fit into society. They want their child to have a good image, even though that's just the image that comes from fashion, that's fashioned over the real person. in a sense, to fashion also means to change. So we're changing people by clothing them. But the point is that the parents worry about that, so they want to choose the right clothes for the child, and they want to choose the right food for their child as well. They don't want the child eating too much rubbish. They don't want them eating too many cakes and chocolate and the rubbish of McDonald's and lots of other processed foods. And here's a point to think about. Think about special celebrations. Think about birthdays and parties and maybe even Christmas or something. What are you giving as a present? You gonna and it's interesting because I think about something that my mother told me. My mother told me that when she was young, she really didn't get much at Christmas. She was lucky if she got an orange and a little toy or something like that. Now, think about that. An orange is a pretty healthy gift. It's really nice. Think about what we give now. We're going to give like a box of chocolates, and yeah, sure, chocolates might taste nice, but think about what message that's giving. Think about what message giving the birthday cake essentially is in general is quite unhealthy. What kind of message are we transmitting that when we have a celebration, we actually give things which are unhealthy to people? When we visit people, we bring them a bottle of alcohol or a bottle of wine. Nothing against alcohol at all, but just think about what message that's transmitting through society. Anyway, here's the quote. The words of Tony Shepard, a vicar I met in Harrogate, nagged at the back of my mind. He told me, I do think that parents can be overly enthusiastic about the wrong things. Parents are quite keen that there should be a lot of worthy homework for their children. I'm sure the children are happy about that. When I make pastoral visits, I feel a little anxious about seeing parents towering over their small children, making them do their homework. A child has a solid working day and needs time to relax and to be a child, to be themselves, in essence. There needs to be more sense of play and games, and I would say just exploration of learning in the world there. I think games in its modern context can also have a negative effect with overly competitive environments. Not that I'm against games at all. Games can be cool. I played a lot of them myself and enjoyed them, and that's the way it should be done. Ultimately, you make children enthusiastic about learning if you make them enthusiastic about life. Make them enthusiastic about life. If you live, you learn. That's it. My experience is that children don't do things like riding through woods on bikes anymore, and this is a great shame. And he's quite right too. He's quite right too that through some elements of this sedentary lifestyle of television and internet, we were not getting the same experiences that we used to get. A lot of children don't do those things anymore. A lot of children do, and that's great. Get out there. A lot of adults should do the same thing as well. I think that's really important. Anyway, it's a great shame that parents are really missing the point there. I don't think they're analyzing really what's happening. Moving on, let's have a look at a bit of research here. Again, at the attitudes of parents towards their children. The most significant and detailed research ever carried out into the influence of parents on their children's education was conducted by Charles Desforges, I'm not sure of the pronunciation, in 2003. In a summary of his findings, he writes, parental involvement takes many forms, including good parenting in the home, including the provision of a secure and stable environment, intellectual stimulation, parent-child discussion, good models of constructive social and educational values, and high aspirations relating to personal fulfillment and good citizenship. I'm gonna question the element of citizenship there, but that's just a question of language, perhaps, from my perspective. Contact with schools to share information, meaning the parents should contact the schools or have some contact. Participation in school events, participation in the work of the school, and participation in school governance. Extremely important. You have to be involved. You have to take notice of what's happening. You have to see how things are developing. And you really have to care. And providing the stable environment is extremely important. And what this is saying is that what happens at home translates to what happens at school. There are very few people who are successful in their school life that are not successful at home. And if they are, they're using school as a form of escapism at that point. It does happen, but this environment transfers and transmits from home. So we really need to see how important that is for the parents. Let's move on here. A little bit of information about stimulation of the child's mind, for example, through reading here. Quite significant research completed by the Literacy Trust shows that parents and the home environment are essential to the early teaching of reading and the fostering of a love of reading. It doesn't come from school, it comes from the parents. 84%, huge percentage, 84% of over 8,000 pupils in a survey for Reading Connect's organization indicated that it had been their mother who had taught them to read. These people who love reading were taught by their mother, not some abstract external force telling them what they need for their life. A direct family relationship, a key point there. It's the mother that passes on this love to their children, and I'm sure the father as well has a very important effect in this area. Research has also repeatedly shown that parental involvement in the child's literacy practices is a more powerful force than any other family background variables such as social class, family size, and the level of parental education. Consider the concept of just actually seeing a parent reading a book or an article or a newspaper or studying some information or working hard at something. That absolutely is going to transmit to the child, consciously or subconsciously. It's going to transmit there, and it's essentially something that's automatic in each situation. It appears that when parents read to their children or recommend books to read, the impact on a child's learning and well-being is astonishing. It's that simple. Just reading as little as 5 minutes a day to your child can significantly improve their attainment at school. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Imagine you turn off the radio, turn off the TV, just close that door, close the windows, shut the world out just for a little bit of time, and you give that time directly to your child. Also note, the best book for detailed parental advice on reading is The Reading Bug by Paul Jennings, published by Penguin. So that's a nice little note there to think about it in terms of reading. And reading is learning, essentially. I mean, think about those skills that we have of reading, writing, listening, speaking, and knowledge of grammar and vocabulary. Think about that. What's input? What's output? The only input there is listening and reading, essentially. So what we need to do to learn is to read. Reading is learning. It's a key. It's a key. Other important things that parents can encourage in the children to help the children develop as best as they can is something simple, just like playing sport. Playing sport, encouraging people to take healthy physical exercise, to be involved, to make quick thinking decisions, to be part of a team, to experience teamwork. Extremely important, and this is going to develop into their understanding of the world as well. I mean, look at how teams run. I mean, many students can make a successful career now out of their sport. They don't need school, because by being good at sport, you can make enough money to have a very successful life and do all the things that you want to do. It's quite crazy. I mean, look at people like British footballer Wayne Rooney. What's that, 60,000, 70,000 pounds a week just from chasing a bag filled with air around a park, essentially. That's what he's doing. I mean, we always encourage music, encourage art, those experiences of practicing and rehearsing. All of them key, all of them important. And think about your own learning as well. Maybe we'll get to that later. Run out of time. Thanks.